Early one morning, when the mist still covered the high mountain peaks, the Highland boy gently woke up before dawn. The sound of a rooster crowing echoed from afar, mixing with the sound of the wind blowing through the small wooden door of the stilt house. The house, perched on a mountainside, surrounded by green terraced fields, has long been a part of the simple but peaceful life of him and his family. The boy, small in stature but with quick feet and a face shining with diligence, got out of the small bed, quickly put on a faded sweater, and gave the extra gift of a scarf around his neck to protect against. In his hand is a hook woven from bamboo, a long rod handcrafted from sturdy branches, items that have become his close companions every time he goes down to eat fish. With rubber sandals with worn soles, his small steps are gradually walking towards the forest and stream, passing through fragrant rice fields. He started following the red path to meet the rapids, a familiar path that he had walked countless times. The path is steep and gentle through the trees and streams, leading down to the stream at the foot of the mountain. Every step you take is the sound of dry leaves rustling, mixed with the chirping of birds in the tall trees. The morning air was so fresh, the smell of cool, moist forest soil mixed with the scent of fragrant wild grass and flowers. The boy walked faster, filled with courage, because today he hoped to have a catch of fish. After about half an hour of walking, he reached the stream. This stream winds around under large rocks. The stream water is clear. You can see schools of small fish swimming around at the bottom. He found a spacious green rock floor, sat down and carefully prepared his fishing rod. The morning sunlight falls on the pouring water, creating a peaceful and beautiful scene. The boy leisurely fished down, his eyes carefully following the small waves spreading as the fishing line spread. He began to prepare for fishing. First, you take out the fishing rod from the basket. This is a fishing rod that he made himself from a sturdy tree branch. The boy chose this bamboo branch from last season after carefully cutting and grinding each section, then drying it in the sun. First, you need to get a sturdy rope. You have used it many times, so you know that it is durable enough to withstand the strength of large fish. The boy checked the rope again, gently smoothing each section to make sure it was not tangled or secure, then carefully coiled it until it was smooth. After that, he turned around the animal toolbox, rummaged for a moment, and then took out a small roll of string and a few fishing firecracker rings made from cork wood. These floats were handmade by the boy, simple but effective. Reinforced armour on the leg rope, adjust the length to suit the water flow. The current is not too strong today, you just need to cast the line not too deep. Next is the standard answer. The boy pulled out a steel skirt that had been used many times but was still sharp and shiny. The boy carefully styled the club on the end of the rope, making sure each knot was tied so that the club wouldn't slip when the fish took the bait. After preparing the fishing rod, the boy realized that there was still a very important sentence missing. The question. Even though you are familiar with all the preparation steps, finding the answer always requires fighting and ingenuity. He stood up and looked for a wet area where he could easily dig up earthworms, the type of fishing that fish always love. Just a moment later, he found a soft patch of ground bordering the base of an old tree nearby. This area is located right next to the riverbank. The land is always wet because of the soft water, making it an ideal place for tourists. He got down and used both hands to begin to gently loosen the soil on the surface. The soil here is soft and easily damaged when digging. After just a few enlightenments, he found a few big, chubby earthworms crawling zigzag under the wet soil. He carefully picked up each worm and placed them in the prepared container. His hands were dirty, but he secretly felt worried because this job had become so familiar to him. He knows that just a big and fat worm like this is enough to attract big fish in the river. After a while, his shop was full of fresh earthworms. The boy returned to his original seat on the rock, put the box down next to him, and wiped his hands dry, locking them on his pants. Here, everything is available. The boy opened the box, took out a worm, and then carefully hooked it on the hook. With skillful fingers, he hooked the worm so that it was still alive and writhing, creating an attraction for the fish. Once the worm is firmly hooked into the jig, you gently get up and move the fishing rod forward, preparing to drop it down the remaining line. Choose a location on the beach where the water flows gently, a quiet place that you know is often full of large fish. The sunlight had now risen higher, shining all over the sparkling surface, making the bathing water look like silver strips. The boy slowly lowered the fishing rod, his eyes carefully watching the rope slowly sink into the water. The small boy began to float on the water, moving gently with the current. He sat down on the rock, his eyes never leaving the cannon, ready to wait for the signal from below the river. The space around you is quiet, only the sound of gurgling water and the wind blowing through the trees. The boy sat there, in the peace of the morning, his eyes hiding the hope of a bountiful catch of fish, his heart filled with joy and happiness. Time passes slowly, only the murmuring sounds of life and the sounds of wild birds echoing in the quiet space. Stepping naturally, it was necessary to step gently. The boy quickly pulled up a large carp to exploit in the sun. Her face was radiant. A bright smile appeared on her lips when she saw her achievements. Just like that, each fish, from carp to perch, was pulled up and put into the basket. The tank was heavy, filled with delicious fresh fish. With the reflexes of someone well versed in fishing, the boy immediately responded. He quickly tightened his grip on the fishing rod and gave a gentle tug to ensure the hook was firmly lodged in the fish's mouth. This movement was done with care and finesse because pulling too hard could snap the line, or the hook might slip out of the fish's mouth. The boy had done this countless times before, so every action seemed effortless. And feeling the weight on the end of the line, he knew the fish was struggling, trying to free itself from the hook. The strong tugs and frantic jerks of the fish made the rod bend, and the line stretched taut, vibrating slightly in the stillness of the early morning. The boy smiled to himself, knowing that he With practiced skill, he began reeling in the line, slowly turning his wrist in controlled circles, winding it in bit by bit. He didn't rush, ensuring the fish wouldn't panic or thrash too much. With his other hand, he kept the rod steady, carefully managing the bend of the rod to reduce the strain on the line, preventing it from breaking. The fish continued to struggle beneath the water, occasionally pulling the rod farther from the bank, making soft splashing sounds as it thrashed in the cool, clear stream. The boy remained patient, not hurrying the process, gradually reeling in the line while observing the fish's movements. When he sensed the fish was tiring, he quickened the pace, reeling in the line faster and pulling the fish closer to the shore. The float, which had been drifting gently on the water's surface moments before, was now fully submerged by the strength of the fish. As the fish neared the bank, the boy leaned forward, one hand holding the rod while the other reached into the cool, As the fish came into view, he could see it was a large silver-scaled carp. It flopped about, but the boy was used to handling such slippery creatures. With a deft grip, he caught the fish firmly, feeling the coolness of the water and the solid, muscular weight of the fish in his hand. With a quick flick, he unhooked the hook from the fish's mouth. The fish continued to squirm, but its energy was fading. The boy carefully placed it into the bamboo basket he had prepared, closing the lid to ensure the As the sun climbed higher in the sky, its warm golden rays filled the forest and stream, signaling the end of the boy's fishing trip. His bamboo basket on his back was now heavy, filled with fresh silver-scaled fish that shimmered in the sunlight. Each fish was large and strong, and the boy knew today had been a lucky day, a bountiful catch. Sweat glistened on his forehead, but his face beamed with satisfaction. He stood up, adjusting his fishing rod and the bamboo basket on his shoulders, which now carried the weight of the fish he had caught. He glanced back at the stream, where the gentle ripples still danced across the clear water, reflecting the sunlight like strands of silver. Bowing his head slightly, he silently thanked the stream that had sustained generations of his Highland village. The road home was steep and uneven, but his steps felt light with the success of the morning. As he walked back, the boy couldn't help but think excitedly about the moment he would return to the village. These fresh, beautiful fish would soon be taken to the local market, where villagers gathered to trade goods. He imagined his neighbours happily buying the fish, praising him for the large and fresh catch. Pride swelled in his chest, knowing that even at his young age, he was contributing to his family and community. He whistled as he walked, the cheerful tune blending with the bird songs in the forest, creating a natural melody in the peaceful mountain landscape. On either side of the path, the golden terraced fields spread out, welcoming the boy home after a hard-working morning. When he finally reached home, the boy placed the basket down and opened the lid to admire the fish, still glistening in the sunlight. He knew that today had not only been a successful fishing trip, but also a beautiful memory of hard work, patience, and gratitude for the natural gifts that provided for him and his village. The story is about a boy named Khai from the Highlands. His dark skin and bright eyes reflect his agility and strong spirit. Each morning, as the mist still lingers over the green mountain ranges, Dung wakes up early, carefully arranging his baskets of fresh fish. His bare feet move swiftly along the narrow dirt path leading down to the market. The gentle breeze carries the cool mountain air mixed with the fresh scent of fish, creating a serene scene.
Là bao nhiêu tiền? Cả hai con. Này, 200. Rồi rồi.
Soft rays of morning sunlight filter through the canopy of trees, casting a warm golden glow on Khai's dark hair, making his face look radiant and full of life. With a bright smile, Khai greets everyone in the market, his cheerful voice resonating through the stalls. The mild morning light is not harsh, but rather warm, much like the love and determination Khai holds for his family and his life.
đi một cân bao nhiêu?
Con này mình làm hai con
140.000. Có tiền rẻ không? Cháu vừa bao nhiêu đấy?
At his stall of fresh fish, Khai warmly invites people to buy. Though still young, he understands the weight of his responsibilities. The morning scene at the village market, in that gentle sunlight, symbolises not just the start of a new day, but also Khai's unwavering resolve to rise above challenges.